Hi, my name is Cold Beer, and let's start with Clash. Artifacts of Chaos. From the very first moment I saw the game, I instantly realized that I'm seeing something great, something far beyond the games I'm used to. The art style here is awesome, and the game is great as well. I should probably start by saying that this is a story-rich, Souls-like RPG adventure game. You play as Pseudo, a master of martial arts who lives as a recluse in the strange land of Xenozoic. When you cross paths with a small creature whose mysterious powers have attracted the attention of some evil lady, you decide to protect him, unaware that much greater forces are involved. But you don't care because you are awesome and everyone else just suck. They don't know that yet, so you are eager to bring wisdom. And by wisdom I mean bloodshed and broken bones. Your fists and speed are your greatest weapons. You will attack, dodge, stun, block or counter a parry to land a special attack. You can even switch to a first-person view to perform unique techniques. Each time it's up to you to seize the occasion to achieve a victory. If this is not a hidden gem in its truest sense, I don't know what is. If you like difficult and trippy games, this is a must. 5 Nations. If StarCraft was mockingly called a Warcraft in space, then 5 Nations should be called a Warcraft in space, because it is following the same gameplay formula as Blizzard games, but everything is happening, you know, in space. But don't worry, this is not some grand strategy game or something like a homeworld where the distances are huge and everything is happening super slow. No, in 5 Nations the background is space, but all the action is the same as an old good base builder RTSs. The game gets little attention because it's an indie game and they have no money to make a huge advertising campaigns. I found it just because I was especially looking for games like StarCraft, and it still took me an hour to get to this game. But now it may become a bit more popular because other YouTubers tend to copy my lists. Great thing is that you can play the demo version on Steam absolutely free and check it out with your own eyes. Although it's not easy to see where to download it. Look in the right column above information about languages and you will see the download button. 5 Nations managed to stay true to old school gameplay, voiceovers and even writing style, and that is great. Steelrising. Basically, if you like dark fantasy and hate France, it's a game for you. Nah, I'm obviously kidding, I love France. But here the country is in ruins and only you can save French people and beat the oil and screws out of the bodies of bloodthirsty robots. So what happened here? Why are there so many automatons running in Paris and killing everyone left and right? Well, of course, because of the evil king Louis XVI. He made an army of robots and started to terrorize citizens just because he can. And because the king doesn't want history to unfold just like it unfolded in our reality. He was so unpopular that he was executed by guillotine, and after his death France became a republic. By the way, fun fact, after his head was cut off, the cheering crowd rushed towards his dead body with the hopes to soak his blood into the napkins, you know, as a souvenir. Such a napkin nowadays would be worth a fortune, no doubt. Imagine, you could probably even clone the king from it and claim the throne of France once again. That is one dangerous napkin. Anyway, people on Steam are saying that Steelrising is a fun steampunk-themed Souls-like game in which you can tweak combat difficulty, so it is more friendly for casual players. But the game lacks optimization. Some gamers say it stutters even on modern PCs, but that is not an issue for everyone, although it's often enough for it to drop the game's score to only mostly positive. This is a physics-based building game in which you construct medieval siege engines and lay waste to immense fortresses and peaceful villages. Build a machine which can crush windmills, wipe out battalions of brave soldiers and transport valuable resources, defending your creation against cannons, archers and everything else. Game looks beautiful, the art style is 10 cold beers out of 10, and the same is difficulty, at least at the beginning, because my machines did more harm to themselves than to their surroundings. Anyway, I promise you that after a bit of practice you will build your incredible mechanical potato of terror and destroy some peaceful castles. Return of the Obra Dinn. This may come as a surprise, but the game has an overwhelmingly positive review score left by thousands of people who actually bought and played the game. In 1802, the merchant ship Obra Dinn set out from London for the Orient with over 200 tons of trade goods. 6 months later, it hadn't met its rendezvous point and was declared lost at sea. But early this morning, about 5 years after its disappearance, the Obra Dinn drifted into a port with damaged sails and no visible crew. As insurance investigator for the East India Company's London London office, you dispatch immediately to find means to board the ship and prepare an assessment of damages. So this is a first-person mystery adventure based on exploration and logical deduction. In other words, a story-rich, single-player, atmospheric, horror detective retro walking simulator Return of the Jedi of the Planet of the Apes. Just Cause 3. The Mediterranean Republic of Medici is suffering under the control of a dictator with a huge appetite for power. So this is some kind of Mediterranean Belarus, and you have to show them what freedom looks like. And here it looks like death and explosions of dictator's troops and allies. Here you will be given complete vertical freedom. Skydive, base jump and free dive in an open world the size of 1,000 square kilometers, so you can create chaos in all of this land and have a lot of fun. People on Steam are saying that the game is very fun and has almost zero boring moments. The grappling hook and the wingsuit will help you to fly around and cause havoc, and this experience will keep you entertained for hours. To be exact, about 18 hours of your boring life will be made better by this game. My Time at Portia. This is a fun and relaxing RPG, a great open-world game with an incredible amount of stuff to do. It is similar to Stardew Valley, but has more depth in it. Literally because it is in 3D and figuratively because it is bigger in general. And this is the best game if you just want to relax. Here you arrive in a weird post-apocalyptic new town named Portia to inherit your father's old building workshop and spend your time restoring it to its former glory. It's definitely not a game for a serious RPG lover, but sometimes it's just good to relax, catch some alpacas, build some experimental devices and even go to a dungeon to fight giant rats. Definitely a game for the whole family. Far Cry New Dawn. Far Cry games have always been colorful, but this is an absolutely next level of an airy-fairy unicorn carnage. They call it vibrant, I call it eye-melting. Despite that, Far Cry New Dawn is a decent game. Here you will dive into a post-apocalyptic Montana, 17 years after a global nuclear catastrophe. You will join fellow survivors and lead the fight against the dangerous new mob and their ruthless leaders, as they seek to take over the last remaining resources. And you are not in a mood to give your potato salad to anyone. You are more fond of bloodshed and carnage, and this is what you will do here. If you have a friend or loving mother-in-law, you can play this game together in co-op mode as well. People on Steam are bashing New Dawn for being just a shadow of Far Cry 5, and I agree, it should have been a DLC. But when it's on sale, why not? It costs as DLC as well, except you don't need the base game to play it. Steep. You'll ride a massive open world across the mountains of cocaine. Well, or snow. I don't think there was an official explanation of what exactly this white stuff is made of. Anyway, imagine what you want. So you'll land in the Alps, or the wilderness of Alaska, and conquer the world's most epic mountains on skis, wingsuits, snowboards and paragliders. Basically, you will do all that stuff you would never do in real life. You know, you can't do that sitting on your couch. Oh wait, yes you can.
We usually put 5 people on a run on the couch.
Although I doubt that you find this mother of all winter sports in this game. But don't worry, the game is really cheap, so even without that it's worth your time and money. So long story short, this is a fun game with great mechanics. The more you play, the better you become. Until you hit the ceiling of your capabilities, of course, and then delete this stupid game. Anyway, good luck. Littlewood.
That's what she said.
So here you defeated the Dark Wizard. The world is finally at peace, but at what cost? Now it's time to rebuild your town, learn new hobbies and forge lifelong friendships in this peaceful and relaxing RPG. You'll explore the vast world, enchanted forests, fishing towns and dark mining caves. You will meet townsfolk and convince them to stay in your town. Also, you will collect rare items and materials found across the world and bring them back to your town for selling and crafting. Yeah, let's make some profit. The game has above 90% of positive reviews and people on Steam are saying that it is very similar to Stardew Valley and is very addictive. So be sure you have plenty of free time before playing. Forza Horizon 4. You know, it has around 90% of positive reviews on Steam and it is one of the most loved games by racing fans in general. Here you can collect over 450 cars, race, do stunts, create and participate in open-ended campaign. Also, dynamic seasons change everything. Go at it alone or team up with others and explore beautiful and historic Britain in a shared open world, meaning that you can play this game alone or participate in online player versus player races and so on. I'm not a big fan of racing games, but I'm tempted to get this one as well.
Contraband Police.
The year is 1981, and as a young officer trainee you are assigned to work at a border post of the mountainous region of Karikatka. Entry into the Akarist People's Republic is strictly regulated by the party, and your every move is monitored. The situation at the border escalates when your comrade is killed during one of the interventions. Every visitor must have a set of valid documents. Even the slightest suspicion means refusal to entry. Over time, the number of documents will increase and errors will be more difficult to detect. But you have a good eye and will never disappoint your dear leader. So here you must always be ready to intervene in an emergency situation, solve crime puzzles, support your comrades, and show these capitalist rebels who the real boss is. And of course, it's your dear leader. You are just a helping hand that will help to make decisions that will determine the future of glorious Akaristan. And some say I have an accent, but as you can hear, my English is perfect. Tannenberg. The game brings the massive battles of the Eastern Front and the First World War to life, with 64 players fighting for control of key sectors of the battlefield, each one offering a distinct strategic advantage. Here you'll find authentic atmosphere with accuracy in everything, from maps and weaponry to uniforms. The game has great tactical squad-based FPS, players Romanian, Latvian, Austro-Hungarian, German or Bulgarian. But I have to warn you that if you don't have 64 friends, just forget about those 64 player battles. Still, the price is nice, and so is the game. Dwarf Fortress. This is a complex construction management and roguelite simulation where every generated world brings a unique challenge. You'll observe what makes your civilization fall into eventual decline and learn what to fix for the next time, until something else inevitably goes wrong and the cycle repeats, with more and more knowledge on your side. You know, I always think that if we learn to play some game very well, our brain has to delete something else in order to gain new specific knowledge, so you probably forget stuff every time you play something new. And that is always some important info. You know, definitely not that song of some local idiot musician you can't get out of your head for years now. You will forget your name before you forget that song, I promise. These things stay forever. And that song is probably something like:
Oh girl, pimple schwimple, oh girl, I love you, oh girl, blondie hair, pimple schwimple, oh lulu, la 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 la, oh oh.
If you want the full version, press like 1000 likes and you will get it, so you could never forget it. Anyway, you'll meet hundreds of animals and monsters, many of which are randomly created for each world, as well as generated poetry, musical forms, instruments, and dances for dwarves to practice and perform. This game is ginormous, and it also has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. Dead by Daylight. This is an asymmetric horror game where you can play as the killer or one of the 4 survivors, or as I like to call them, victims. Since you are not a victim, at least not in the gaming world, your projected goal should be to hunt down the other 4 players. That is if you are lucky enough to become a killer, a powerful hacker and slasher, or a paranormal entity of nightmares. Because honestly, there is only a small chance that you will end as an alpha and not some puny victim. Each level is procedurally generated and the spawn points are random as well. But be warned that the game's community can be quite toxic if you don't have any friends of your own, and if you do have friends, they are probably toxic as well. And if your friends are nice, are they even friends? And now subscribe for more useless existential content. House Flipper. Don't get me wrong, but I think that everyone should play this game. Not because it is immensely fun, well, it is, but because you will get so much knowledge on the renovation, design, and even how to use tools. For example, at which end to hold the hammer, at which end to hold the nail, at which, well, you got the point. So here you learn about materials, colors, tools, and how to make them work together to create wonderful houses, rooms, and even bomb shelters. Regardless if you plan to create the house of your dreams, help the residents with their renovation, or feel the need to smack some walls, House Flipper is a perfect game for that. But as I've said before, especially for the knowledge. The game is relaxing and some even say stress relieving, so don't think twice, the price is really nice. Titan Chaser. It's a meditative experience where you don't have to manage fuel, car maintenance, health or damage. Just find where to drive and how to use your tools effectively, or just forget about your work and drive through foggy landscapes to calm down after a hot day, although your job here is to find monsters and make them go away.
I think it is inspired by a Norwegian movie called Troll Hunter.
This is the best Norwegian accent I can do. Sue me. Game has very positive reviews and people on Steam are saying that this game is an absolute gem, really creative and ambitious ambitious project. Starship Troopers Terran Command. This game has a model similar to the Arbillions where you defend from the hordes of enemies and try to keep your base alive. Also, here you can literally relive the best moments of the Starship Troopers movie by defending your base from hordes of ladybugs. Anyway, here you'll encounter dozens of unique insect types, each with their own special abilities and skills. Also, the map has terrain elevation, true line of sight and true line of fire, providing deep tactical gameplay, meaning that units that stand behind other units can't shoot unless they stand on a higher ground. Sadly, you can't play as an alien insect. It's not off the table completely, developers say, but now you can only play as a military human society. That's it. If you are wondering if you can build a base here, yes you can, but it's not the main focus of the game, I would say. Despite that, it has a very positive review score on Steam, and many commentators are stating that if you like Command & Conquer or StarCraft, you must try Starship Troopers as well, so do not ignore it. Thalassa, Edge of the Abyss. I am almost sure that you never heard about this game. It is not favored by Steam algorithm in any way. So as developers say, this is a single-player, first-person psychological drama set in 1905. And for me it is kinda obvious that this is a walking simulator as well. Nothing bad with that. Just keep in mind that here you won't be running shooting Cthulhu minions. Any minions, to be fair, because the game is set in our reality and has almost no fantasy elements. So here you will explore a sunken vessel and try to crack its secrets. Just don't read the game's description on Steam. The first part is a spoiler fest. Another case of saving money on a good commercial writer. They never learn. Anyway, this looks like a really fun game, but if you have your doubts, you can play a free demo on Steam. Scars Above. This is a challenging sci-fi third-person action-adventure shooter. It combines the rewarding feeling of overcoming difficulty with a compelling and intricate story set in a mysterious alien world. A colossal and enigmatic alien structure appears in orbit and stuns the entire world. Your team, consisting of scientists and engineers, is set to investigate. And should I say that things didn't go as planned? Aliens haul the team across space onto a mysterious extrasolar planet, so you wake up dazed, alone in a strange hostile environment. But determined to survive, you set out to find your crew and unravel the mystery behind what's happened. People on Steam are saying that the game is really fun and has a great story. The downside is the linear plot and Souls-like mechanics. Well, there is nothing bad in mechanics as such, but the game doesn't communicate this to players clearly, so a lot of casual gamers who buy the game fail to kill the first boss. Hand of Fate 2. This is a dungeon crawler set in a dark fantasy world. Here you'll try to master a living board game, where every stage of the adventure is drawn from a deck of legendary encounters chosen by you. So choose wisely your opponent. The enigmatic dealer will try to make you feel helpless and pathetic. People on Steam are saying that the combat is a bit clunky, but the atmosphere, art style, and the narration of the game makes Hand of Fate really enjoyable and fun. Although keep in mind that the game is kinda difficult, also heavily based on luck. You know, it's a card game after all. And that may be frustrating if you have an unlucky day when everything falls apart. So before playing, throw a coin into the air 3 times and try to guess, heads or tails. If you'll be correct at least 2 times, play the game. Luck is with you today.
And what if this was the last drop of luck? What if guessing heads or tails right was the luckiest thing that happened today?
Well, in this instance, I'll think you'll know that you are screwed right away. Game is not forgiving. Ryse, Son of Rome. Another game with a ridiculous price tag. Ryse looks like God of War, Shadow of War and Assassin's Creed smashed together, and that is never a bad thing. He will take on a role of a Roman soldier who joins the army to avenge the slaying of your family and then become a hero who must fight to save the Roman Empire itself. Well, we all know that the Roman Empire is no more, so spoilers, you failed, but in the end it doesn't really matter what you did or didn't. All it matters that you had fun by killing hundreds of enemies and did that in satisfying manner. People on Steam are talking that Ryse, Son of Rome is really nice. The game is short, sweet and enjoyable. A very positive review score left by tens of thousands of buyers can confirm that with ease. Bulwark Evolution, Falconeer Chronicles. Here you'll create your own fortified settlements within the haunting and eye-catching landscapes. The core gameplay is focused on wildly building across the rocky cliffs and crags of the world. Light resource management and story elements bring your creation to life, while giving a voice to its inhabitants and allowing you to expand it with exotic new build options. Also, it's not just a simple city builder. The threat is real and the battles will be glorious here. Don't ask why, just look, you will be fighting dragons with airships. How cool is that? The game itself is a spin-off of the Falconeer, a beautiful air combat game created by a solo developer, and this city builder is definitely worthy of your attention. The Chant. This is a nice single-player third-person horror action-adventure game set on a remote island. Your peaceful weekend turns to dread after a group opens a psychedelic dimension of terror that feeds off negative energy. So you could throw all the Karens of the world in it and keep everyone happy, but the protagonist never thought about that. So now you witness terrifying revelations about the cosmos, fight off the creatures, reason with the survivors, and unravel the legacy of a cult from the 1970s to reverse the ritual that caused all of this. The score on Steam hovers about 80% of positive reviews, so 4 out of 5 people like the game. BLACKTAIL. Here the choice is yours. Will you become the guardian of the woods or the terror nightmares are made of? You play as Yaga, a 16-year-old girl accused of witchcraft and expelled from a medieval settlement. Well, I know what I would be doing after that. Definitely not helping poor folk from the aforementioned village to heal their sick cattle. No, I would rather secretly put pineapple in their potato salad. Also would turn all their delicious beer into milk.
Milk of a cat.
Yeah, milk of a cat or of a hamster. Anyway, he will decide the fate of the land and its inhabitants, and witness the impact of your decisions on your skills through an implemented morality system. People on Steam are saying that the game feels more mature than the visuals it provides, and the story is really dark and captivating. And now, thank you for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.